big or don't go home.
Go big and don't go home.
Possessions is still a state crime in Georgia as well. So how did you get tried for on a federal level for it?
Because we beat the state case because they wrote a bad warrant. They wrote a warrant that said they were able to search my home due to the fact that I was wearing shorts.
I haven't heard this little bit.
Were they tie-dye? Because they're kind of stoner.
No, they were
probable cause.
I had some cargo shorts on, and they said because I was wearing shorts, that meant that I was heading straight home with the half ounce of marijuana, and therefore they had the right to search my home. Whereas if I'd been wearing slacks, I guess, then I was going about my day into the world, and so that was going to get thrown out. So was all of the evidence that was actually acquired. And but the feds, because of the types of firearms that I owned, were able to search my house regardless, just because I had been found to possess any marijuana whatsoever, like a seed of marijuana or a hundredth of a gram of marijuana would give them the ability to search my home. So the state lost their case, and so the feds picked it up.
What do they do with the guns? They just hold on to them, put them in a big vault somewhere?
Probably destroy them.
Oh, that's a shame.
What would you... 200K? Like, you get more than that in guns.
Yeah, closer to 400.
They took $400,000 worth of guns? Holy cow.
I had half an ounce of marijuana. I was a real danger to society. You have to understand.
I didn't trust him either. When they called me, I said, leave no stone unturned.
I said, did you know there's more guns in the basement?
Did you check the bunker out back? That's where the real shit is.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Yeah, how long did you get like schedule when you went?
No, they did that scheduling for me.
They didn't let you set your reservations.
So I just called the concierge down at the federal lockup, and
actually, I don't want to speak for Kyle, but my observation is that the stress and like unknown that stretched out for 2 years was maybe worse than the 2 months in prison. Like in terms of the punishment, you carry on.
Yeah, because I was looking at more like 25 years of prison, of like trumped up charges if I'd try to go to court and fight the silly charges. So that's the reason I pled guilty, is because some of the charges I pled guilty to are not accurate. I pled guilty to intent to distribute as well, because they said that my girlfriend had smoked marijuana at my house one time and that I had distributed marijuana to her in that manner. And so that was a crime. But I couldn't. If
you went away that long, it would have been funny for me and Woody to do the show next week and been like, it's only 1,200 weeks until Kyle returns to the show.
Like, the listeners know, but you guys might not. Like, one of the charges was owning a firearm with a destroyed serial number. Now, what happened was he bought a brand new firearm. He bought it from a gun store legally. Everything is on the up and up. He took that brand new firearm and shipped it to a professional firearm coding person to give it like, cool camo or another color or something like that. And then it turns out that person had gotten paint in the serial number, and now they're accusing Kyle of destroying or defacing
a serial number, which is a 10-year mandatory minimum federally.
So that's the kind of like, I don't know, the threat that he was looking at.
And they were looking at like an enhancement per gun up to like, I don't know if it's up to 5 guns or up to 10 guns, but they can add like, it's like 2 years per gun up to 10 guns, I think, which is like 20 years. That they could tack on. Even the guns had nothing to do with marijuana. Those type of laws are meant to punish drug dealers who are carrying a pistol while they deal drugs, and it's like, oh, you can't steal my drugs, I'll shoot you, or you better pay for those drugs or I'll shoot you. That sort of thing. People who are in that kind of business, not for people who like have a shotgun in their closet way back at home and they smoke some marijuana at a concert, and that's how they're kind of applying the law. So they were threatening me with like roughly 25 or 30 years or something like that if I didn't plead guilty to some pretty nonsensical charges.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, and then of course the cost of going to court.
Ed and Rabbit as co-counsel. I could do an afternoon. All right, I'll meet you in the middle.
Right smack dab in the middle.
I mean, that's
a warning.
I give a warning.
That's pretty much how it went. Like we started at 25 or 30 years, and then it was like maybe 5, and then it was like and as early as like 5 months ago, it was like 2 to 3. you know, and then it was like, shit. And then, you know, we finally negotiated down to this crime that's 0 to 6 months. And then it's up to the judge's discretion. And then he gave me 2. So yeah, been a fun little time. And then, you know, just got out, but yeah, got out 2 weeks ago. I'm enjoying freedom. Yeah, it's good to be
what's
back.
the coolest thing about being out? I my guess is controlling the light switches on your own, but
sure, that's awfully nice. You know
what time it is.
We got a clock, you know, and it moves very slow.
How about that?
Especially when you're watching it.
I just stare at it all day. I don't know, man. You know, having my computer, being able to play video games and stuff, like having a cell phone is huge because, like, if you have one in there, they send you to solitary confinement. You know, you're not really allowed a cell phone in there. You know, sex, fucking all the any kind of
that
food
in prison, Kyle.
You can almost did, and you know, any kind of food.
What was the first thing you wanted to eat?
I got fajitas. As soon as I got out. First, I
was
been
going to
thinking
say
about
pussy. Yeah.
that would have been funny. I really wanted.
What's the worst meal you had in prison?
See, I did a pretty good job of like I lost 35 pounds in prison because I didn't eat very much at all. But I ate mostly chili. Like they had these pouches of chili that you just tear the top off, dump it in a bowl and microwave it, and they're 300 calories each. So I just eat one of those a day and put a bunch of hot sauce and jalapenos in it. But the prison food's good. It's like cafeteria food at high school. You know, it's not great.
So they didn't have like what's the little bars they used to have? What they call like Nutra bars or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like it was like
Nutrigrain bars.
Kind of like no. This is like a meat patty that was kind of ground up of. It was the hot dog of hamburger meat. You know, like
yeah. I feel you. Yeah,
lips and assholes.
No, there were days like one day a week we would have like what was basically like Popeye's fried chicken. And like once a week there would be pizza, and once a week there'd be like their version of fajitas, which was like grilled chicken and tortillas and beans and rice. It was good food. It was fine.
See, this is the thing here at Greenville County. My attorney, who's a really good friend of mine, we grew up together. We were joking around. He said, if you're going to commit a crime, you want to do it on a Friday if you're going to get arrested, because Friday is hot dog day at the Greenville LEC. He said, I've got people that are incarcerated, but will stay another day to get hot dog day. Apparently, they got some damn good hot dogs at the Greenville LEC.
Oh, my goodness.
Maybe they have like Ballpark Franks or Hebrew Nationals. Hebrew Nationals or something.
I sold some cars to a guy who his business was food to prisons, and the budget was like 15 cents a meal or something. It was crazy.
That's county. That's what it's like.
Have you ever sold wholesale hot dogs before, Ed?
No.
15 cents is a damn good hot dog. I'm just saying.
In county, they told me that I was like, what is this food, boys? What are we eating here? You know, because it's like a boiled egg and 2 sausages that look like my finger, but rotten, and like some oatmeal with nothing in it whatsoever. And I was like, what is this? And they're like, their budget it was like 9 or 15 cents a day or something like that. So it was just, I was like, I got some money. How about I make a phone call? I'll have $400 sent here in an hour. And look, I get it. You can't just feed me. Feed all the boys. Go to McDonald's and go wild. like, this is outrageous.
Mr. Moneybags over here with his monocle and his call a friend for money.
Dollar menu for everybody.
Dollar menu for everybody. Just go get 200 fucking double cheeseburgers and let's party out here in the Franklin County
and
jail.
And it was on that day that Kyle knew his asshole was safe.
And that was the day that Ronald McDonald saved Kyle's ass.
I definitely would have done that. You know, that food was so bad. I lost a good bit of weight in like the 3 or 4 days I was in county jail, like a shocking amount for such a short period of time, because I just didn't eat for 4 or 5 days. That was no good.
I had so many prison questions for you, but we've covered so much. I'm trying to think. Did you have any more in the stockpile that you were intentionally saving?
Maybe off the top of my head, but I didn't really make a list. You know, I'm bad about that. I was.
Did you shank anybody while in there?
There were shanks, but I did not shank anyone. No.
They have a shared knife program. And
We had a knife sharing program. Yeah,
Mostly
it
used
was
for making relish.
Yeah, that's what I used the knives for. I used them to chop up stolen pickles to make relish for my tuna salad.
What was the most ridiculous thing someone was in for?
Possession of half an ounce of marijuana.
Good answer.
What was to distribute?
I was going to ask the most hardcore thing, if you have maybe on that side.
I mean, Snow was moving like a pound or two of meth, and the former military guy, he was in because he had like 4 ounces of cocaine and a pound of marijuana. But the enhancement, the thing that made that worse was like 5 or 6 years prior, he had gotten in a gun battle at a club and had shot 3 guys, all non-lethally. But he had shot 3 of them. It was mostly smaller stuff. It seemed like, but I didn't really want to talk to the scarier guys, at least not enough to ask them what are you in for, because that seems like a private
You
question.
probably don't want to make friends with them.
Was it called minimum security, low security? What did they call it?
It's a federal prison camp, FCP,
Okay.
or federal FPC. Yeah, whichever. Yeah, I got some pins. I got some souvenirs that say it on there. Talladega Federal
Really?
Prison Camp or something like that.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you got souvenirs. Like, remember.
I would have got
Yeah.
tattoos. You know,
Tell it
FCP.
in Alabama.
Yeah, in Alabama, at Talladega.
wow.
Not too far from the racetrack. Yeah, I did not get to see any races while I was there. There was a guy there they called Ricky Bobby. Of course, Talladega Nights legend of Ricky Bobby. Yeah, there were plenty of people who were in there. It was mostly drugs, because you can't really be in there, I don't think, if you've been convicted of a violent crime or a sex crime. And but that's a little confusing, because when you first hear that, you're like, bunch of drug selling tax cheats, right? And it's like, no, it might just be a bunch of drug dealers who never got caught for their murders, and
seems
that's
more likely.
that seemed to be a good mixture of that going on. But there was also plenty of tax cheats. You have people in there for bribery and like tax schemes and online theft, identity theft, things like that. There were a lot of guys like that. But then there was plenty of like ex-gang members and ridiculous shit like that. A lot of that going on. And there's plenty of drug dealing in there. A lot of guys are just selling drugs in there.
Was your prison divided on racial terms? Like, as it seemed like you were talking to Black and Mexican guys, but the guys on YouTube that I watch make that seem like it's not a thing that happens.
No, we talk, we get along, but there's definitely more of a bond. But the black guys kind of stick together, and the Mexican guys kind of stick together, and the white guys kind of stick together. But they all talk. You're living together in a big room. You can't just
Can't
not
be a
talk to
nonstop
each other.
war, shoulder
Yeah,
bumping.
We're sharing 2 microwaves. Between 75 of us in that dormitory, and we're sharing 1 ice machine. We're sharing 4 or 5 TVs. Now the TVs are segregated, of course, like I talked about, on the first show back, that black TV, white TV, Mexican TV, and the sports TV. And you don't fuck with the other races.
And
TV.
that's where everybody came together, on the ESPN TV. And what
That's
can we learn about that from society?
Did people like exert a dominance in the microwave line? The guys cut and be like, "What are you gonna do?"
No, that would be a real faux pas. No, everybody was pretty cool about that. And even like, if you were about to like make a whole big chili bowl of soup or something like that, which a lot of people just throw everything in a bowl and microwave it, just mackerel fillets and ramen noodles and melted cheese and all kind of bullshit. But and that might take 10 minutes to cook up. They'd fry rice in there. They'd pour oil and rice and fry the rice in the microwave. But if they turn around and saw somebody had a cup of coffee that they just wanted to warm, they'd, hey, go ahead. There was everybody was polite.
I
as
do that
far
at the
as,
cash register.
yeah, sure. You've got one item, and the guy behind you has or you've got a whole cart, and the guy behind you has one item.
Or if the
come
guy
on, come on.
seems old.
Yeah, you can't stand for too long. Yeah,
So
there
you
was
see the
definitely
guys making the kits, like they're cooking up stuff in their room, like crush up chips and make like homemade burritos out of them or something.
I saw.
There's a guy on YouTube that does that, shows you how to make them at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you want to?
There was a guy who could make like.
Do you like bad food?
Great craft with the kids.
There was
Now,
a guy
this
that
is how
would
you
make.
make a knife out of a sharpened toothbrush. And it's like, I'll just go buy a knife,
I
idiot.
like to think he's got like a
Like-
VPN sponsor in the middle of it, like the most worthless prison sponsor ever.
There was a guy who would make these big Chipotle style burritos, even though that we only got tiny little tortillas. He'd have 5 or 6 of them, like those people make those enormous joints they roll because they have some sort of fancy technique to roll out a bunch of papers into one giant joint. He's doing that, but with a burrito, and you can see like the layers of burritos that he's made, and it's huge. It's like a 2-pound burrito. They would make cheesecake they would crush up crackers to make a graham cracker crust, and they would take cream cheese and sugar, and then whatever the dessert of the day was, if it was like blueberry cobbler, they'd get just the blueberries, and so they'd make like a blueberry fucking cheesecake, and they'd sell them. Like when Alabama's playing football, there'd be 4 white guys in one cell cooking, fucking making cheesecakes because they're going to sell them for 2 Macs a piece. A Mac is a package of mackerel.
Wait, how much is a Mac?
$1, 70 cents each.
I can't believe cheesecakes go for $1.40. That is a great deal.
Probably not very good cheesecakes.
Well,
they were.
I didn't have any. What do you want, Taylor?
Everybody acted like they were amazing, but they had been living inside of that prison for quite some time. So
Yes, they probably thought the guards were hot.
Somebody could have and be in that prison.
The longest sentence?
Yeah.
I don't think there was a limit, honestly. I read online it was 10 years, but that turned out to be bullshit. Because one of my friends had been in for 10 and had more to go. And then there was an older gentleman who'd been in for 9 and had 3 or 4 more to go. There was a guy who had been in for 14 and had 2 more to go.
Could they have done time at another prison? And maybe
sure, they could have. That's possible. But I just don't think there's a limit because they sort of you earn your way down in this like whole complicated federal point system to get into that place. Like if you start at maximum and you go long enough, not hurting anybody or fucking up, you end up in whatever high or medium and then low, and then you end up in the camp. Like eventually you earn your way down to there.
So for Ed and Rabbit, Hal ran laps with this guy named Snow, and Snow would take a break every lap or 2 and do pull-ups. How many pull-ups did he do in a set?
8 to 10, depending on the day. He always mixed it up.
Okay, wondering.
But he had 40 pounds tied to his waist, so it's kind of...
So do I. Really?
Wow.
I never thought about that. Yeah, I'm doing.
Did y'all have like a welcome back style episode last week, or?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, we talked a lot about prison. I try not to get too prison heavy on we do a 4-hour show, so I don't want to do 4 hours of that nonsense. So I do like 45 minutes or an hour of just nonsensical fucking prison talk. Because there's a lot of stories. I met a lot of interesting people, and it's a stupid fucking thing. If I were the judge, I would let 90% of the people I met in there out because it's like they're not planning on doing anything else. They just want to go back to life.
Right.
They're all planning on like, oh, I'm gonna be a forklift driver, or I'm gonna get my CDL. I'm gonna drive a truck.
Sky's the limit.
But these are people who make bad decisions, though, right? Like a lot of them. When confronted with a situation where they could do violence or walk away, sometimes they choose the wrong one. When when things get hard and they have to, I don't know, say no to themselves or steal, sometimes they choose the wrong one. I wonder, it's easy to declare that you'll do the right thing after you get out. But
I don't know, like what
okay.
I was in there for a short period of time, and I was thinking like, I ain't never gonna fuck up again.
Okay.
See, he was in there a short period of time, and he started talking like that already.
I ain't gonna never. Yeah, this is how. By the way, anybody wondering why I had so many like problems in prison? This is how I talked the whole time. I used my prison Kyle voice.
Yes.
They didn't take to it none.
You should have done the purple do-rag.
I should have done that sling blade voice like Billy Bob Thornton. Mm-hmm.
That would have been a long 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. I'm only 4 days in and people don't care for it, but I've already committed to the bit. Mm-hmm.
More annoying than your cellmate. Silly
Some
sounds
folks
like
call it a
blade.
shower rape. I call it Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
At this point, I don't think people are bullying me because they think I'm a retarded.
Yeah, it was pretty